The world's oldest hotel is over 1,300 years old, and its success is tied entirely to the hot springs nearby that have fed them earth-heated hot water for over 50 generations. The Nishiyama Onsen Kyunken is what's known as a Ryokan, a traditional Japanese hot spring hotel. In this video, you're going to learn all about Ryokan and their tradition of hospitality known as Omotenashi. You're also going to hear about the big business of Ryokan and why there's so much money pouring into them now. You're also going to hear about the longest running spa and hotel. To finish it off, you're going to understand a little bit about the etiquette that is expected of visitors to these Ryokan. So what is a Ryokan? Well, it's a traditional Japanese hot spring inn. Older Ryokan were established as an inn for monks and others taking religious pilgrimages to temples and shrines. And most Ryokan are located near onsen. These are natural mineralized hot springs. And Ryokan will redirect these waters either to public baths, reserved baths, or private baths. And the hot springs are typically the main attraction of a Ryokan. I've linked a video in the description detailing these onsen hot springs and the healing properties of their waters, so go check out that video in the description. Now, typically Ryokans are family run and passed down through generations. However, there has been an influx of corporatization or corporate Ryokans, which we'll get to shortly. But if you're looking to find a Ryokan and maybe visit one yourself, go check out Selected Ryokan. It is a directory with ratings and location and pricing of over 50,000 Ryokans in Japan. Now, if you're pretty serious about visiting one of these Ryokans and you want to go to Japan, as someone who's been there, I can honestly say you'll get more out of the experience if you know a little bit of Japanese. And that's where I'd recommend a site called Nihon 123. I love how effortless they make the lessons. You can just turn on a video and learn something every single day. It feels like learning Japanese from a close to as we roam the streets of Tokyo. So if you have an interest in learning Japanese, whether it's for travel or just personal interest, go check out the link in the description to Nihon 123. Now, what really separates Ryokans from your typical hotel or motel that you've been to in the past is their tradition of hospitality known as Omotenashi. Omotenashi is not only about taking care of your needs, but anticipating your every need. This philosophy originated from the spirit of giving to people on their religious pilgrimages, as I had said before. And they would host these travelers to and from Buddhist shrines, giving them a place to rest their head, fill their belly, and bathe in healing waters. And that means everything from the arrival to the meals and refreshments and even the spa experience is taken care of. Now, Omotenashi still lives on to this day in most Ryokan. Is Omotenashi and this brand of hospitality scalable? Ryokans are not known to be wildly profitable. They're a family business for serving others, and many operate on slim margins as it is. So why are there so much investments flowing into Ryokan? Well, when the pandemic cut the Ryokan business in half from about 1.5 trillion yen or $9 billion US per year, it decimated many family-run Ryokan. Therefore, they were forced to innovate or sell to someone who would innovate. And many Chinese investors have been particularly busy sinking money into Japanese businesses and taking advantage of the weak yen. For example, the Tsuruya Ryokan in the coastal town of Atami was taken over by a Hong Kong-based company in 2017. Now, they sunk $180 million in 5 years into transforming this Ryokan into a luxury property called Atami Pearl Star Hotel. Now, if you compare that $180 million investment to the Nippon Hotel and Residential Corp, whose entire portfolio of 14 Ryokans is worth just $120 million. That goes to show you that investors really see an opportunity here to make the business of Ryokan bigger. And we've actually even seen the average occupancy of Ryokan back on the rise following the pandemic. And I think that's mostly because Ryokans have a natural charming appeal. And that's due to the onsen hot springs, the history, and the interesting traditions. Unfortunately, many Ryokan are being overshadowed by the stormy clouds of modernity. They're being forced to become multilingual, offer online bookings, create meals more attuned to the Western palate, and ultimately become more like resorts. Still, the tradition of etiquette seems to be a non-negotiable element of the Ryokan. Regarding footwear, if you notice that there's a raised floor just inside the entrance, you will need to remove your shoes before stepping up, then turn your shoes facing towards the door. Anywhere there is a tatami mat, you need to remove your slippers. Only bare feet and socks should be worn on a tatami, and this is because they are very delicate and can be damaged. Thus, you should never roll your luggage across a tatami mat, but should instead carry it. Back to the point of slippers, there are separate slippers that are designated for the restrooms, and they can be found right in front of the restroom entrance. You should be swapping slippers and do not move them from one room to the other. On the point of what you wear, most Ryokan will provide you with a yukata, which is known as bathing clothes. JapanGuide.com shows us how to dress in a yukata. And depending if you're a male or female, you will tie the belt differently. Now to the point of towels. Now typically onsen baths are nude, so you will be provided a modesty towel to cover your privates as you disrobe. But this modesty towel then sits on top of your head as you bathe. It is not to be submerged in the water. Now on the point of eating, there is a lot of eating etiquette known as washoku. But it's a very complicated and exact way to eat a meal that even very few Japanese have mastered, so I wouldn't fret over that. And I should also note that there are many other rules about tattoos and hygiene which typically vary by Ryokan, so it's something that you should check on before you visit. And please don't overlook this etiquette. It is so central to the values and history of Ryokan, and from what I understand, it's this etiquette that has allowed so many of these Ryokan to stay in their families for a very, very long time. In fact, the world's oldest hotel is a Ryokan. Nishiyama Onsen Kyunkin was founded in the year 705. All of its hot water is sourced directly from the local Hakuo Springs. And the second oldest hotel is also Ryokan, Hoshi Ryokan. Both of these are what's known as a shinise, or a family-run business that has been around longer than 100 years. And you'll actually find that many Ryokans are shinise. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the fascinating world of shinise and the 50,000 plus 100-year-old businesses in Japan, check out the link in the description to the video on this topic. Otherwise, if you enjoy learning about Ryokan, I'd highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button. About 6 days a week, I cover the culture in Japan and focus on a different detail that really makes them a one-of-a-kind country. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see what tomorrow's detail on Japan is.